everyone, and Happy New Year 2022. Welcome to Wakilisha Podcast. This is a bonus episode of season 1. We closed off in 2021, but this is an election year in Kenya, so it is only fitting that we have the Wanjiru Nguhi in studio with us. She is an Afro-political feminist, if she says so herself.
I do.
Fellow podcaster, and your podcast is called?
Mine is a comment podcast.
Hers is a comment. Okay, the title is Mine is a Comment. Perfect. I love this title because it is so Kenyan, and I can't wait for all of you to hear from her.
Yay.
She's also the founder of
An organization called Mwafrika Mwenzangu, where we do civic and political education, and we also mobilize women and young girls to take an active participation in political processes.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. So that's why we have her in studio. You know, we care about children in conflict with the law. So this is a bit different for us. We don't talk politics, but politics is so important to our everyday lives. It shapes our human rights. It shapes access to water. Did you know politics affects whether your taps are running, right? So we'll be discussing some of those things later on. But first, we always have to do reflections. Right?
Oh, wow, you don't want to introduce ourselves?
We're not doing.
Yeah, I guess it's a
Oh,
2022
right.
thing.
Okay. No, 2022 people have to know us. My name is Liz Jambi,
I'm Brian Bright.
And I'm Zippy.
and we're all from Wakilisha Initiative, which has brought Wakilisha Podcast. So we promote access to justice for children in conflict with the law. Now, are you ready for reflections?
Wow.
Oh, state resolutions.
There's a twist to it.
Yeah.
This is a new year. We're not doing reflections, we are doing resolutions. So, what are your resolutions in 2022? Zippy, please start us off.
Oh, do I look ready?
Yeah, I think you do.
Mine maybe to be more spontaneous. I like pre-planning things, and I guess it's time to maybe loosen up a bit. Yes.
Oh, I love that. Wanjiru?
Yes. I don't know about a resolution. I mean, I'm still struggling with my 2016
Oh.
resolution. So, but I like to go with words. Like, what is the word for the year? And I'm thinking that in 2022, I want to go with more audacity. Like, let's just be audacious. For me, let me just be audacious, audacity. Yeah.
Wow, I love
wow.
that.
Oh, wow, yeah. I really love, wanting to be, more audacious. I totally love that. I hardly ever have New Year's resolutions, but I want to steal ZPs on being,
wow.
on spontaneity. I'm not a very spontaneous person. You have to tell me things in advance most times. So I think I want to do that this year. I hope, let's give it.
I'll set a pace for you.
Let's give it like a couple weeks and see.
Okay.
All right. Well, I wish you guys all the best. I want to be more present in everything I do. I want to be more present in my family members' lives, in my friends' lives, but also more present for me. I'm someone who can get really lost in my thoughts and really just go off the tangent and overthink one thing, and then I forget everything else. So I want to be more present in every moment.
Nice.
So yeah, those are our resolutions. We hope you have some too. Please share them with us. What are your resolutions as we go into this election year, right? And again, I said we are really, really happy to have you, Wanjiru. And now we get to hear from your awesomeness.
Yes.
Yes, your awesome audacious self.
Wow.
Like Liz said, we're very pleased to have you on this episode,
Thank you
Wanjiru.
for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, and first question comes from Twitter because I think everyone might remember from last season. I talk about how I love Twitter, and I think these two know. And so we did see something from your Twitter,
Wow.
and I'm not sure if it's controversial or not, but you said if, this is maybe not verbatim, but if we elect nonsense politicians, or, if political parties give us nonsense political leaders, then we end up with a very nonsense government. Something like that. What did you mean?
Okay, first of all, what I said
Correct him, please.
So what I said was, when we have nonsense political parties, then they will produce nonsense leaders, and then when we get nonsense leaders, then we will have a nonsense government. Because when you look at political parties are vehicles of power.
Yeah.
This is what people use to get to power, to either be elected, to be nominated, and even to be appointed for certain positions. So if you're very active in your political party, even if you don't get elected, you might get a position in government, you might be a minister, something in there, an ambassador, something.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it is a vehicle of power, and it's also a vehicle of political opportunity. So when you have a nonsense vehicle, it will take you to a nonsense destination. Because these are the people who now end up going to parliament to make laws. These are the people who end up in government, as cabinet ministers and as even as a president. These are the people who execute policy. These are the people who implement the things. These are the people also who end up appointing other, parastatals and things like that. These are the people who appoint ambassadors. So if the political party crumbles, then every other thing goes crumbling.
Yeah.
If you don't have structure within your political party, we will see it in government. If there's no integrity at the political party level, if there's no character at the political party level, then it doesn't matter how much you gaslight Kenyans into let's vote wisely. If you're not giving us wise decisions in the first place, where are we supposed to get the wiseness? If I open my ballot paper and I see thug, thuggery, thuggests, thuggests, what am I supposed to do with those choices? Really, what am I even interrogating?
Right.
Yeah, so that was where, that was coming from.
I think I'm gonna have that on my WhatsApp status, and just so it's there, and everyone knows.
The minute I go to vote and I open that ballot paper, I'll just be thinking of your words. But it's interesting what you said. These are the people who will go to parliament and make policy. So up until recently, I used to say I'm apolitical. I don't care for politics. I do not want to know what is going on. When we have those segments in the news section, I don't want to understand what they're discussing and all that, until I started realizing that all of this is connected to my everyday life. It seems, as you said, we've been gaslit to think that it's completely different. But now we're constantly seeing all our resources, everything is linked to our leaders and politics. As it were, right? So expound to us, how is politics related to one policy making? I think you've brought that out clearly, but how does that then translate to human rights, for example, and everyday life?
All right. So number one, the thing that we need to understand about politics is what politics means. For me, politics is about the negotiation and distribution of resources. That is what politics is. It's always about the resources. I know they will make noise, tangatanga, kieleweke, but what are we tangatanga? What are we what are we elewai? It's about resources. Where does the money go? Where does the money come from? Where does the water come from? Where do those resources come from? So the most important thing is understanding that politics is about the negotiation and distribution of resources. This is why you cannot be apolitical. Because if you're paying tax, it means it's not just money. You're paying, now we are here, right? This is our time. So if maybe we are paying 15% tax, 15% of all of this will go to the government. 15% of the time you would be spending with your family goes to the government. The amount of tears you cry if you're in a toxic work environment, guess what? 15% of those tears go to the government. So you can imagine you're giving so much to this government for it to be distributed equally, and yet you're not even participating. You're leaving it to the thugs and to the thuggeries and thuggenesses to decide who is going to get what, who is going to get what, or who's not going to get what, or who's going to get what in what, So when you think about it in terms of resources, then you understand that it boils down to even the quality of our lives. And the quality of our lives is directly proportional to the human rights. The reason we are fighting is because we don't feel safe. It's because we don't feel represented. It's because we don't feel like we are being given housing, because these are rights. Housing is a right. Food is a right. All these things are rights, and these rights come in the form of resources as well. So the government redistributes these things. We call them rights, but they are resources that are distributed by government. So if you have people who do not care about you, they don't care about the quality of your lives, they don't care about the decisions they're making and how those decisions will affect you, then it becomes a human rights violation. It becomes, so we end up getting a raw deal with regard to the quality of our lives. Yeah.
Wow. I like something you said earlier just before we started recording that people define politics in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But for you, politics is the distribution of resources.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes, that negotiation for when you sit at a table and you decide we're going to have this amount of money going to education, we're going to have this amount of money going to healthcare, we're going to have this for, for water and sanitation. That is the politics. And that is why I'm very particular about budget processes, because that is the actual politics. Forget about what they say when they come to campaigns. Forget about what they say to you when they're fighting each other on the news. The actual politics is the money, is the resources, is the budget process. Yeah.
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 Jambi, you're not writing notes.
Yeah, so
I
she
mean,
doesn't
I
have
was
a
supposed to
pen.
share a pen is right, and then look at him hugging. Wow.
She doesn't have a pen.
I will. So mental.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how can we, as youth, actively be involved in politics? I know you had asked me and said, like, what happens if we get old?
Yeah. You're no longer youth.
Yes.
No, no longer. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But mine was like, how can we actively be, how can we actively be engaged in politics so that when we get older, we can also teach like our younger generations? Like, what is your take on that?
Okay, my take on number one, we are getting into an election season. So if you haven't registered to vote or you haven't checked like the status of your voting card, please do that, vote. I understand that we are living in a very apolitical, apathetic situation, but apathy does not really help us. I know it's frustrating. I know it looks like it's very helpless because I've already mentioned like the options already on the ballot paper. So the voting is only one way, right? And voting is only once in 5 years. So you cannot rely on voting alone and call that participation. There are other things that happen within the 5 years. And now I'm talking about the budget processes. Every time, and especially at the county level, because I think sometimes we are very focused on the big seats, the presidency and the parliament, and we don't really pay attention to what is going on in our devolved governments, in our counties, and that is where we need to pay a lot of attention. So follow what is going on within the county and understand what happens every year with regards to the budget process. Understand when are the meetings usually held and even attend the meetings. Even if you don't understand, it's okay, just you will learn, because it's also it's an intense process. It's a bit complicated, but just sit there and just hear what is going on. And then with time, you will start understanding, you will start asking questions, you will start forming like a form of community, even with young people. So you're able to tell the members of the budget committees at the ward level that, listen, last month you said this, and this month you're saying this. What is happening here? That is participation. Attending those meetings at that level. Attending those meetings. There's one in January, there's one in April, there's one in August, there's one in November. I think there's even one in December. So just attending that regularly. So you end up building community, you end up building solidarity. And also it's not just at that level. There are also other things that women are doing all over, where we are educating people online about feminism, about like you just form solidarity and communities around political, conversations. That is very, very important. The thing I usually say is refuse to do this work alone. So even when I'm talking about participation, refuse to participate by yourself. Because people are already doing the work. Ask how you can join and how you can help them win. Yeah.
So how do people get to know when these meetings are happening?
And normally they announce, like they will announce it on a newspaper. They will announce it on sometimes it's a newspaper. If you're lucky, there's a WhatsApp somewhere that you will find flying. If you don't live in Nairobi, if you live outside of Nairobi, there's usually like a van that goes around announcing that there's that there's going to be a meeting. There's going to be a meeting, so you attend the meeting. Yeah. So newspaper, WhatsApp. If you're already in a community that does this kind of work, so you will get a WhatsApp message. Or even if you don't live in Nairobi, I don't know how Nairobi works, but from me, where I come from, there's usually a car that just goes around announcing that there's a meeting. It just goes in announcing there's a meeting, so you know that there's a meeting on this day, and this is what they will be discussing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, just before I ask the last question, how can we, as we are not mainstream media, how can we not diversing, but I know this can be a medium of talking politics.
Yeah.
Especially when So like our target audience. So we mostly talk on juvenile justice. I would just want to know, like, just a comment from you on how us as how can we call ourselves? We're not mainstream.
Non-conventional media.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by just using the platforms, like now what you're doing right now, this is very important, using your platforms, tweeting about it, retweeting, like if you see something has been posted by like a very trustworthy,
He's giving me the side eye
by
because Twitter.
trustworthy, so you share that and then
Yeah.
you also tag the people you know that would be interested in that kind of information. And then,
Okay.
you know, yeah, you just,
And so
you take
you
it out
have
there.
Mzalendo Mwenzangu, right?
Mwafrika.
Mwafrika. I'm so sorry. Mwafrika
Mwafrika Mwenzangu,
Mwenzangu.
yes.
Do you have information about this kind of things, for example? Do you do civic education?
do
Is it
civic
online
education.
or physical?
Right now it's online because there was the whole COVID situation. So it's online. There are some very short videos on the Mine is a Comment podcast on YouTube. So you'll see very short videos on some of the processes. So it's also a work in progress. We're doing more work. We're doing more videos. And also a resolution, even if I didn't have any resolution, is is to have this work also offline, so that I'm also speaking to people who are not online or who don't have time to go online,
access.
or even access,
Yeah.
exactly. So finding
Amen to that.
these women where they are, and even and working also with young girls and telling them the importance of participation and why their participation is important, especially as girls and as women.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so what are your expectations in the upcoming elections?
When it comes to elections, I don't know. I'm a bit ballot, because of already the way I think about all the institutions that fail us before we get to an election, and the leaders and the people and the choices we get are not even vetted, and the fact that we have been exposed to uncare. Even the way the pandemic has been handled, like the past 5 years have been ridiculous. So there's going to be an apathy. I feel like it's going to be like the mother of all apathy. I am not mad at all. I understand it. And so I'm watching to see the turnout, like how many young people will turn out to vote, how many women will turn out to vote. I don't know if there will be as many numbers as we had last year, but I'm just, I'm just hoping to see. I'm just looking at those numbers and I'm just like, okay, even if you don't vote, I hope you get to participate within the 5 years.
Yeah.
Because the voting is not enough, but I do hope that this anger that we're feeling and this neglect and this uncare we are feeling will make us participate and want to understand how do governments work and how can we also participate and how can we help those in government win. Yeah. So I'm not the numbers I don't know. I'm just like, anyway, let's see.
Do you have any
Let's see.
hope for the next 5 years?
The hope is we are the hope.
Yeah.
We are the ones who have been waiting for. There's nothing that is coming. There's no one who's coming. It is us. If we don't participate, then there's no hope. If we don't come together as communities, as, nyumba kumis and neighborhood associations and whatever chama groups, if we don't come together for political accountability in those small communities that we have, then we are the hope. If we don't do it, then no one else will.
Yeah. I read a quote that just said, growth is when you realize and accept that no one is coming to save you.
Yeah.
In
For sure.
whatever aspect of life,
Yeah,
and you do
yeah.
it yourself.
Yeah.
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 That's a
Except
bit-
when it comes to this work, refuse to do it by yourself. Refuse. Let me tell you, refuse. If there's
So what
no
are you telling
community-
people when you tell me refuse to do it by yourself? What are you telling me?
What I'm telling you is work together with people.
Where am I finding the people?
The people are on the ground, they're doing the work. The people who are doing the work find out, is anyone doing this and how can I help them? How can I join them? Or what are they not doing that I can add to what they're doing? Yes. Yeah.
So it's a call to action to everyone.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you said, I'm sorry, I know Zippy is
No,
itching
no,
to
it's
answer.
okay.
No? I love that you said voting is not enough, because I think we concentrate so much on that voting day and telling people, yes, go register, which is
They
great,
should register
right?
to vote, yeah.
Register and vote, let your voice be heard. But
Yes.
there's more to do after the voting,
Yeah.
when government, is sitting, what are you doing after that?
Exactly.
Within those 5 years.
Yeah.
Keep holding them accountable.
Yes.
I
Yes.
absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you short.
No, it was a banter, so go on.
Don't miss us pass.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, wow, this has been amazing. I think we've talked about what you do at Mwafrika Mwenzangu.
Yes.
Amazing. Please tell us a little about Mine is a Comment podcast.
So mine is a comment. Hey. So mine is a comment podcast is a podcast where I sit with women and we talk about how certain decisions, practices, and beliefs sit in the lives of women. Because when you look at the world is looked at from a very male lens. Like even the medicines we take, a lot of it is from a very male perspective. And so sometimes we don't understand. So me as a woman, how does this affect me? And that is not where the podcast come in. So we talk about many things. It's not just the politics, it's also social, economical. So when we're talking about, for example, the state of the economy, how does it affect women? I know it affects all of us, but how specifically does it affect women?
It disproportionately affects women.
Exactly. When we're
That's
talking
the fact,
about the pandemic, what does that do for women in terms of access to healthcare, for example, in terms of the labor that women have been doing in this pandemic? Yeah, I mean, we are all working from home, but how much more work?
Unpaid care.
And unpaid care are women having. Exactly. When we're talking about even things like how we experience religion, for example, women experience it differently. Like men will be told they're the heads of the home. Women will be told they're these things and submit. How do we live that? How do those things sit in our lives? When we talk about mental health, there is a way it fits in men's bodies because the hormones are different. Some of them are the same, others are different. But also, how does it sit in women's bodies? How do women experience depression, for example? How do women experience ADHD? That's an episode I did the other day, and it was even I didn't know. Just like, oh, wow, okay. Wow. So they see it very differently in our lives, and that is what Mine is a Comment explores. How does life generally sit in women's lives? Yeah.
And where can people listen?
They can listen to it on Spotify, on Anchor. It's Mine is a Comment, and we also have a YouTube page, Mine is a Comment podcast on YouTube. Yes.
Wow. Oh,
Yay.
I love it. This woman, I can listen to her the whole day. Honestly, I love how you conceptualize things, how you articulate things.
Yay,
There's
thank
so
you.
much we've not discussed that we discuss outside of the recording. And I think every time you speak, it's just wow.
Yeah.
And let me just reiterate how important it is for people to understand, seek out civic education, seek out political education. Like, how does me electing this person come back to affect me? It's not about their community, their whatever. It's affecting your life.
Yeah.
Time for games, guys.
Oh my God.
Right.
Okay, so for those of you who are new on Wakilisha podcast, a lot of the conversations we have are a bit heavy, especially when we are talking children in conflict with the law. So at the end of it, we like to make it fun, make it interesting, so that you're not leaving feeling depressed and you want to come back. So today, we are bringing a classic back. They're really rolling their eyes.
We have a
They're
guest.
really, because we've played it a lot.
Yeah.
But if you're just joining us, today we're going to be doing fun facts. So everyone on set is going to tell us one. Should I make it two?
Make it two.
One.
Two? Oh, please, I'm only prepared with one. One
I
fun
don't even
fact.
have the one.
One fun fact per person. Should I let our guests
No,
start
please,
with?
I am nervous. I'm thinking, am I fun enough?
I'm so happy I'm not the only one who said that on this podcast. Every time we do this, I'm like,
I'm just like,
am I fun enough? What's a fun fact?
It could be fun to other people.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm just like, I've been set
Maybe your
up.
guilty pleasures.
No, we're not doing guilty. Is this a safe space?
Yeah.
Is this a
No
safe space?
judgment. No judgment.
Very safe space.
But will I be safe after?
Of course,
safety
we'll
after?
protect you. I mean,
No, I'm not going fast. Jambi, you already had yours.
guys.
I
Okay,
think you'll
fine.
go
Fine.
first. I
fine.
said I'll go last.
Okay, fine. I'll go first. So my fun fact is really not a fun fact about myself this time. It's a fun fact about my hair. At
Just
20.
do like this.
Oh, please. Guys, it's all mine, by the way. It's not a wig, unlike some people.
Wow.
Anyway, seriously. So 2021, since high school, 2021 was the year I let my hair loose for the longest. Like my hair is always plaited, which is also how it's become this long. But 2021 is the year I've let it just have fun on its own. I hope that's a fun
And
fact.
we have known no peace.
Yes, for sure.
Because-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, because why should they? I mean, yeah, that's my fun fact.
Another one?
No, two, one. One is more than enough.
Okay, so. Okay.
That now it's you.
It's me.
Yes.
Wow. Fun fact. Okay. I have 9 piercings. Do you know?
9?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, wait. Do you, like wow? Okay, 9 pairs or 9 piercings?
9.
Like
Yeah.
all over your body, you have 9 and
Yes.
counting.
And no, there are 9.
You don't want more? Are you sure?
One more to go.
One more. So
Yes.
10. 10 is the lucky number.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting. We won't ask where they are because this is a safe space.
Yeah, we don't want people coming up to ZP.
And like
Yeah.
how many we want to see
Yeah.
the piercing. Yeah.
Right? Oh,
We're you having Wanjiru go last. I think. I should
yeah,
go
she's
last.
our guest. She should go last.
Listen, I am the guest.
Guest of honor.
Okay, we can give you that. I really feel like I might have mentioned this. So this is not a fun fact for you guys. It's for Wanjiru.
No,
who's
no,
not been
no,
on
No.
this-
If
who's
we
not
know
been on
it, you
this
have to look for
podcast.
another one.
Hmm?
If you know it, you have to look for another one. So tell us.
Okay, you guys know it, but no, I feel like you might know.
Okay, what
but
is it?
If we know, you'll just have
Just
to
say
redo.
it.
If I know, okay,
Yes.
okay. If you guys know, if you guys have heard it, then we'll do it again. I am ambidextrous.
You
know,
just
you
said.
said it.
No, you-
No,
you
you
said on like
said.
episode 3.
Yes.
Please
Okay,
give us
first of
another
all,
one.
what hair?
You see, I feel like, yeah, we're done with those. It's just Wanjiru and I.
So what does that look like?
I can use both my left and right hands.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's
No, I think it just comes from the need, for our teachers wanting us to use. I remember when I was a kid, I was taught that using my left hand is bad manners. So I need to learn how to write with my
Oh, yeah.
right hand.
Your right hand.
But then my left hand was already functional at that time. So, yeah, I can.
Okay, now to a fun fact.
Yeah, now
No,
one that we don't know.
now that we've talked about even my growing up, I think that's a fun fact.
Okay,
No.
fine. I feel played, but it's okay. We shall revisit.
Okay, my fun fact. Oh gosh. Ugh. Okay. A few of you know this, or you might remember for people who are watching. But once upon a time, I was a Kikuyu comedian.
Oh, wow.
You have
Yes.
to crack a joke.
Yeah,
No, I
okay, I won't
didn't.
get
No,
it,
no,
but
no.
I
wasn't like a stand-up comedian. I'm not funny like that. Like I'm not funny stand-up comedian, but it was like a comedy, like a Kikuyu comedy show, and I was one of the stars, and it did very well. In fact, I just saw my former producer, somewhere, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, yeah. So
Okay, please
wow.
say. Do you remember your lines?
no, I don't remember that. No. Even if I remembered, you think I would?
Yes, please.
No, I don't remember the lines, but yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay,
Nice.
that's a really fun
Okay, but
fact.
what's the name of the show?
It was called Gaterina on Inoro.
Gaterina.
Inoro TV.
So
Yeah.
I can find
Gaterina.
some things on YouTube. Yeah,
You can find some things on YouTube.
I
I
won't
have to
understand,
watch
but then I
that.
just want to.
I have to. Ooh, I
There are
have.
some things on YouTube, yeah.
Ooh.
I'll
yeah.
find it.
Okay, we have to look for that one. I think we will insert a
Oh, dear
clip
God.
in this video.
I knew I was being set up. I should have seen it coming.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's been a wonderful episode. I think we have learned a lot. I have personally learned a lot. I am feeling challenged. I will vote and I will participate after
Yeah.
the voting. So you guys have heard from Wanjiru. You can follow her on Twitter. You'll see her handles. You can follow her organization and her podcast. So learn more. Please, please, please make sure you participate.
Yay. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
We should
you
talk
for
about
joining us.
we should talk about the justice system and how the funding looks like and how to organize around, because that is the politics. But I love it, and I love your podcast. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. You're the first person on our show in 2022, and I couldn't think of a more sound way to begin the year, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you for challenging all of us and everyone who's listening. I will whisper this to your ear that I have not registered as a voter yet, but
you will.
Yes.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
I'm very keen on knowing when the last day. I have an insider who's going to give me that information when the last day is.
All right.
To make sure that I am
that you're registered.
Yes.
Please register.
So yes,
yeah.
I will register. So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you
very
for
much.
having me.
Yeah. And thank you for listening, everybody. As always, you can always keep in touch with us on our social media handles at wakili.sha on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and at wakili_sha on Twitter, Wakilisha Initiative Communications on YouTube, and www.wakilisha.org.
Oh, a new game, Bright.
Yes, I promised that
Come
for
season two.
Yes, so definitely, keep following us on our socials. We are officially on hiatus now, but we will be back with season 2 very soon. So yes, keep up with season 2. I will definitely come with the new games, not just one.
Ooh, new
Okay.
games.
Yeah.
All right.
Promise.
Thank you,
Yes.
everyone, and bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.